Hello and welcome to Confidently Wrong, a show by regular dudes talking with confidence about content we have no right to speak about with any kind of authority, but do it anyway. I'm Wesley Nakamura, and as always, I'm joined by award-winning director Brian Redondo and Savon Jones, aka Captain Bonnie. This is episode 158, and we break down the season 4 finale of The Boys, and Savon gives us his Olympics starting 5. I'm confident that it's going to be the best show you've ever listened to, and well, hey, if it's not, you can always ask us for a refund.
Incredible!
Hello, gentlemen. What's up?
Yo.
Howdy.
My daughter got one of these like expandable bendy straws from school the other day. Oh my god, it's like her favorite toy. You just like loop, like you just expand it and it goes like boop 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 boop, and then you like close it up and it's like boop 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 boop. It's really annoying as a sound, and
then
she
never drinks her drink as a result.
Doing it all the time. It's probably too big to be a straw. It's you know, it could fit like a marble through it, so it's like a toy. But this is all she's been playing with for the past 3 days, and like
I hope she's not drinking marbles.
I'm hoping that she plays with it so much it breaks, or something else happens to it, or she forgets it at the park or something. All right.
well, there are other devious things you could do as a parent. Wes.
I could, but I don't want to sabotage her. That would be wrong.
You don't want to get caught.
Yeah,
I think is the thing. So now you're just wishing for bad things to befall her.
Absolutely. No, not her. Just the straw.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so we're going to talk about The Boys, and then actually the Olympics have just started by the time you've heard this, although they haven't started as we're recording this. So we're gonna touch on the Olympics a little bit, but you know, with a little confidently wrong twist.
Yeah, buddy.
So The Boys, they finished up their season finale about a week or so ago. We did check in about the halfway point with season 4. I was a really big fan at that point. Savon and Brian were enjoying it, but maybe not like this is amazing. Did anyone feel differently after having seen the second half of the show, or are we kind of all in the same place?
Yes, I feel differently.
You feel differently? Worse? Better?
Way worse.
Oh, interesting. Tell us more.
I just feel like it was okay. It was like good and fun, and then I just really started losing interest.
Okay.
In the second half of the season, and
there are
a number of reasons. There are a number of reasons. Part of it was a lot of the set pieces being just constantly being retread over and over, blood and guts and like destruction, yada yada yada. It just felt like the show was getting tired, which okay. I don't think I've felt until this season of The Boys, which is unfortunate. And then a lot of the plot points that we talked about for that first half of the season completely just went away. They're just like, oh, okay, we're pivoting from this stuff. We are admitting that all that stuff kind of didn't matter at all.
Like
and, what? Like Frenchie, like come on, like all that stuff. Even Huey's dad and
Huey's dad didn't come to much.
And then his dad died, and then Huey at one point says he's like, I'm not okay, but then. What happened to any of that? Like, I mean, all this kind of stuff is just felt like filler ultimately, and the show teasing itself out for an elongated period that it really didn't deserve.
Yikes, Sav.
I mean, I don't completely disagree with Brian. Like, I think some of the stuff, I get the purpose that it served in the narrative. Like the Huey stuff, it wasn't my favorite, but it was meant to be him confronting his past, learning about forgiveness, and clearly that's going to his like mentality of like, yo, man, hanging on to hate isn't healthy. Like, I actually think from a writing perspective, the point they're trying to make is fine. The reason I'm losing steam and interest is that, and we said this at the end of season 3 of The Boys, the status quo does not get... I mean, sometimes the status quo might change. Like now the status quo has finally changed for like the ending. I'll give them props on the ending, seemingly shaking up the status quo. But here's the reality about The Boys that unfortunately is causing me to lose steam. The biggest other things you could point out, but I think the biggest one is that everybody has plot armor, and that just starts to hurt the stakes. Like, it starts to become obvious when you can just tell, oh, a bunch of people are about to die. Like anytime you see a scene where it's a bunch of boys characters and then a couple of unnamed, like they lean so hard into the red shirt trope of, hey, we need some people to die. Let's just throw some faceless red shirt goons. They're going to get absolutely murked. The boys will come out, Gucci, and then we just do it all over again. And I think just the plot armor is just starting to kind of take away from things a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that you have to kill off a main character, Ned Stark style, for something to be good, but our principal cast has stayed the same since season 1. We still have Kimiko, we still have MM, we still have Huey, we still have Butcher, we still have Frenchie. The boys have never taken an actual loss of any of their main members in the last 4 seasons. And maybe something, I think people are finally going to die in the last season, but you cannot wait until the last season to finally start stripping off the plot armor on characters. When Stan Edgar in the season last said, it amazes me that y'all are still alive. I'm like, I'm kind of with you, dog.
Yeah, was that a wink at the audience?
I don't know. I mean, it's a wink at just how dumb their situations they are can be, and I'm okay with the dumb situations. But the fact that no one dies, it's not even, no one even gets maimed or like. Can someone at least
Kimiko lost a leg, but it grew back?
Well, Kamiko's power
probably, but then why couldn't someone else have lost a leg and just be irreparable?
Yeah, like Kimiko has the perfect power for her to just get absolutely wrecked. And everyone else doesn't, and she'll just be okay. But you don't gotta kill characters. But can someone lose an eye? Can someone get injured? Can someone get put in a wheelchair? Can someone have to medically retire from the boys and be the man in the chair? You can still have stakes in a story without killing off characters. But the boys seems to be unwilling to do either, and that is hard to take seriously in a show that takes pride in killing a bunch of people on screen. But when you just know it's gonna be generic goon number 2. I can think of the sheep scene when they were at the barn. Of all the people who died, no named characters died at all. When they were in the bunker at the season finale, no named characters died at all. Every time there's a scene where a bunch of folks fight, there's a lot of death and no characters we care about. When they came to the office and got the crap beat out of them, they just beat the shit out of Deep and just left them there. Now, I know the explanation was, hey, we can't kill him fast enough. Noir's coming. But again, they went to the boys' office, lost a fight, and no one died.
Yeah,
the plot armor
that
just
should not be
that. There was a bunch of other things that I could nitpick and I could ignore, but that piece has really made the other frustrations kind of amplify a little bit. And the show is very guilty of introducing new characters and then very quickly killing them off on the season or removing them, a la Stormfront, a la Soldier Boy, who we may get back, but I don't know, man. I'm kind of with Brian of there's issues with the show, but the lack of consequences to things is what's really, for me, accelerating my just kind of I still want to see how it ends, but I don't care as much anymore. I need someone to get hurt. Frenchie needed to stay in jail, or someone needed to
seriously,
or someone needed to just die.
The characters really need to change, right? And for the events and the things that they are confronting, it has to change them in significant, demonstrable ways. And that just has not happened through the course of the series mostly, but especially this season. Our patience is so thin in season 4. We just need things to happen and for there to be real consequences for any of it to work.
Yeah, what did you think, Brody?
Yeah. What did I think of the second half of the season? I think some of the things I was excited about paying off didn't really, especially Huey and his dad and giving his dad Compound V. I thought that could have played a bigger role in actually being part of the solution or part of the conflict with Homelander. So I kind of wish they would have done that. But I was kind of I did enjoy that they brought in a little bit of the Gen V stuff towards the end. And so that kind of teases where it might go in the next season, so that Gen V actually has an impact on the boys, storyline. And I don't know. I just thought some of it was really cool. I loved the fighting. I think Butcher being kind of sidelined and kind of in and out of it. I did like the stuff they were doing with he's not quite tethered to reality right now. He's kind of in, but kind of out. I thought that was really interesting in how they pulled some of that stuff off, kind of Fight Club style.
Mm-hmm. He had great development.
But him being on the team and then on the team and then kind of doing his own thing and then kind of with the team. Like, actually, that sort of made it worse. That it just kind of just felt like he's kind of in the team, but he's kind of doing his own thing. And it would have been cleaner if it was just like he's on his own and he's doing this thing to work on his own agenda, or he's with the boys and working with the boys on their agenda and like fucking things up like usual. He was sort of like in and sort of out, and it was sort of unclear what his actual impact on anything was. And he didn't actually impact anything except a little bit at the end with Ryan. But I don't know. I mean, I think his journey has been interesting in that it wasn't quite what I thought. It didn't have the power I think it could have had. And him not being part of the boys, I think, makes the boys a little bit less interesting probably in some ways. And I don't know. And then like the way it ended, we're going to talk about like the ending and him having the symbiote or whatever inside of him. I don't know how I felt about that. I guess it was like, oh, all of a sudden now you're better because you have the symbiote in you, even though that was probably what was part of making you sick before. But maybe the symbiote kind of absorbs some of that cancer or stuff, or is the cancer. And so it's, I don't know. That it was the unexplained. But what a visual ending. He just became a tentacle monster.
I mean, the cancer got Compound V and turned him into Venom.
Yeah, so
pretty, it's
fascinating. And now he's healed, right? His eyes aren't as bloodshot and he's not coughing and sick anymore. I didn't like that they killed Newman. I don't know.
I didn't like it either. I didn't like it either.
He felt like a character that just went nowhere.
Yeah, like, and they were even setting up the Homelander threatening the shit out of her, and I'm like, oh shit, she's about to be really interesting next season. Oh, actually, no. Oh, cool. Then
yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted to think more from her story, and also like, where did her daughter go at the last scene?
She
was there.
I was wondering about that too.
And then she just disappears. She's not.
She didn't get grabbed by Butcher. Like what?
Butcher didn't kill the kid. Just killed Newman. She didn't.
Yeah, but then they don't show the kid reacting to the mom being torn apart, which is like the most impactful person who's going to watch her mom die. Maybe they'll deal in the next one, but they should have done it in this one.
Yeah, they sent it to that group home, the same group home that, Newman was in. But yeah, the fact they didn't show any kind of reaction. Why didn't we get to see her react? I mean,
maybe they're saving it for season 5 so that we can get from her perspective, but I don't know.
I think that's just a weird director choice or a weird editorial choice. Maybe they had a reaction that they cut, which all you got to do is just have a literal quick.
Yeah, I'm with a hint of
literally just her face. Maybe she tries to run that. She tries to run that Butcher chemical holds her. Or she tries to do that chemical, stops her from charging in like literally 2 seconds to. But yeah, I don't know.
And also, we know that the daughter has her own abilities that could stop the boys, right? Yeah. So it's like, well, why didn't you unleash that?
Yeah. Now, granted, the others tried to interfere, and Butcher used the thing to kind of keep them back because Chemical and Starlight did try to intervene. But like, I don't know. I could ignore that part maybe, but just Newman's death as a whole is just like, she was one of the best characters in the show. Like,
I liked her.
She actually had interesting, complex motivations that were hard to understand. And for someone who wasn't like a main character, she got some pretty solid development of being someone who's living in two worlds, a politician, her relationship to the different folk. Like, she was actually one of their better characters. And I'm like, oh, they just killed her off. I'm like, oh, that's...
Yeah, now she's in 2.
Yeah, I'm like, she was sick.
It also removes some of the threat against Homelander, right? Like, she has some leverage against Homelander in some ways, even though, like, he's obviously can kill her, but I don't know.
But they never even hyped, like, the fact they never even answered the question of, can she kill him with her powers? Can they at least, like,
Yeah,
like that just felt like
the head popping thing was lost.
There were a lot of little.
I don't think she can. I think that was
which is fine
that she couldn't.
No, but the thing is, they never. There's even a scene where Homelander said. There's even a scene where Homelander says, "Could you do it? I don't know." That's fine. And he said that last season of like, you could try, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Who knows? That's the fun, right?
Yikes.
Now, that being said, the one thing I am a little curious about that maybe, which I'm kind of skeptical, but maybe it could help. I actually don't think it will, but I'm curious what they're going to do with our friends from Gen V and how they're going to play into, because they have to play into the finale of the show. And Marie being a blood controller and having the head popping ability, I feel like that could be a significance, but also the boys has a real big tendency of introducing interesting plot points and then not really exploring them. Like some of the stuff with Ryan, like when Homelander had Ryan doing the thing of making the guy beat up the person and he had that face, and then that just never really went anywhere, right? Like they do a lot of stuff like that. That's where they going with this, and it's like nothing. They're not. They're going nowhere.
And nothing.
Nowhere. It's a dead end.
Yeah. So I think this season maybe was a little bit like uneven like that. I thought the first part really started out like it had a ton of potential, and I think I finished the season being like, oh, it was another season of The Boys.
And not like it wasn't horrible. I don't mean to say that like, oh man, all these plot points were just like really messing with my head and I just couldn't get into the story at all. Like I was still into it and I still wanted to see what would happen, and all that stuff was like really just like fun and cool to see, and I was bought in. So it wasn't that, it was just I feel like there were some things they could have done with a little more time or a little more money or something. But not I don't think it was like bad. Maybe you guys thought it was bad, but I didn't go from like, oh man, this is an amazing season 4 to like, oh, this is bad. I just went, yeah, that's all I thought.
It was like some moments were great and others are like, oh, this is.
Yeah, but I wasn't looking for it to be amazing, so I give it a little bit of a pass there.
I think in previous seasons, they've found a way to ramp things up more interestingly and satisfyingly, where, you know, stuff comes to a head, though the board always ends up resetting. Yeah. Usually there's some really standout moments.
Yeah, that wasn't this.
Yeah, where standout moments where something grave happens, maybe your jaw drops, and you're like, wow, they took it there. You know, like last season, Homelander killed some bystanders at the end of the season. You're like, whoa, they went there
publicly.
This season,
they didn't go more there.
I don't feel like they quite hit those highs that
I guess that's
to
true.
Me are the things that really carry the show over, that are pulling me constantly to want to watch. And I felt like they were trying to hit some of those notes, but a lot of it just fell flat ultimately. And then the more that they kept throwing out different types of things, you know, flying sheep and whatever, the more it just felt like the show was flailing, in my opinion, and was losing its own intelligence and creativity.
All right.
I just think the character the characters being interesting is just very lopsided. I think you have characters like Butcher, who I think has gotten great character development in terms of him being a piece of crap, but then he clearly has complex motivations about the relationship between his wife, Ryan, and all that stuff. Like, I like that stuff. Him being so introspective about, is he a monster? Is he not? Battling with this hallucination in his brain, ultimately deciding to give in at the end. Like, that was dope. Homelander having to come to, you know, with his mortality in a lot of ways, with like all of the, you know, him plucking his gray hair scenes and whatnot. Like, it's weird, but like
delicious.
That shit has always been consistently interesting. Even A-Train, who was probably the least likable character from the start of the show, at least for me, became a favorite because they did so much long-term character development.
He was like, that felt good. The guy looked at me like I was a hero.
Yeah, but I'm like, yo, but when
you think, oh, good job, A-Train, you did it.
Yeah, but when you think about the arc of his character, the relationship with his brother, his nephews, realizing the people are awful, the racist crap at his job, all that, like, it makes for an intriguing story, because I hated A-Train and was rooting for him by the end of this season. So it's like, the problem is that I think some characters they're developed, even MM, I'm a big MM fan of his battling between his anxiety and taking care of his family and responsibility and all. They have those characters who are awesome, but then you got characters like, at least in my opinion, Huey, who is just like, like this just doesn't really contribute to the main plot in a way to be interesting. Frenchie, who's just always feeling bad for himself. Kimiko, who her conflict is interesting, but that's better as its own show. Like, it's not interesting in the context of The Boys. It'd be cool as its own spinoff series, I think, but like, her issue and conflict is, in my opinion, too divorced from the main story stuff to be.
Well, I think that's the problem. It's not that it's not interesting or would have to be its own show. I think they haven't tied in
like a tangent.
Yeah, they haven't tied in all these like other would-be assassins and the people she's victimized into the storyline.
Yeah, and I would argue that there's no way to tie it in without it feeling forced or uninteresting, because the nature I think the nature of Vought and their whole super company thing, and then like an underground like East Asian assassination ring, is just trying to connect those together would feel like just the tonally they just feel very different, to where I don't even think I'd want them crossing over genre-wise. But whatever. My point is that they have good characters, but not everybody's as interesting. And when you have so many uninteresting characters and you're unwilling to kill people off to kind of, you know, trim the fat on the larger cast, because certain characters' arcs probably could have ended 2 seasons ago, you have a bit of a bloated cast and they need to give everybody something to do, and that's just not realistic. That's why they had to throw Frenchie in jail half the season, because he's either going to be in jail or working on the virus, but there's not really a lot for him to do. But I think that's it's a consequence of the format.
I'm still into it. You guys sound more down on it than I am. I'm still probably season 4. I'd say like 4 stars out of 5. I enjoyed it.
Wow.
Really liked it.
Bold. That's a high score.
I know. I was looking for every week. I was looking forward to watching the episodes. So they were doing something right. But I think, like you said, like it was kind of, you had to be a little smooth brain about it. You didn't have to analyze it too hard and just like enjoy the ridiculousness of it. Brian, what did you think season wise? Final conclusion, final thoughts.
I think Sister Sage really was done poorly. I am very disappointed. She could have been such a great character, and
she was for a lot of it.
I felt like they just like didn't really know. They didn't show her being this mastermind genius. She's sort of like is like saying, "Oh yeah, that was all part of the plan." Like,
yeah, but we don't know that.
Make me believe it. Make me believe that she is playing 4D chess and everybody else is playing checkers. But I'm glad that she's at least still on the board. Anyway, I just want to throw that out there as well. Like, there's all these, as Savon has pointed out, lots of things that have so much potential and are interesting, and they hint at it a little bit here and there, but then they don't really stick the landing and take us there. And for that, with the boys just like retreading some of this stuff over and over and over again, I would give this like a 5 out of 10 or something like that. Like this season just reminded me of how much better and more interesting and imaginative Gen V was to this. And I even saw a friend of the show, Sean, yesterday, and asked him what was better, The Acolyte or Boys season 4. He said The Acolyte, which also is not a great show, but that just shows you where season 4 has left us. So
I enjoyed how Acolyte kind of finished up.
I think that show has gotten better since the beginning. So
for sure.
Yes.
All right. Sav hasn't seen it, so don't spoil it for him. Sav, where you at on The Boys? What's your final verdict?
3.5 stars out of 5.
All right.
It wasn't outright bad, but it had very objective flaws that took away from the final product.
He said objective flaws. It's just a TV show, but okay.
I mean, you can still have a flaw. Like, there's stuff that I'm like, oh, this ain't it. Y'all missed the mark on this.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's get into our next segment. Segment number 2.
Oh, yeah, baby.
We're doing a new Savon starting 5. Savon, do you want to introduce your starting 5 and how it ties into current events?
You're damn right. So, all right, lovely people, as you all know, the Olympics are right around the corner.
Well, why did you get into this whisper mode?
Where all people from all over the world come together to compete, and it's a beautiful thing. We've been doing it for over 100 years. It's a great way to have some national pride that's not super problematic, only mildly problematic. And it's something that really brings people together, which is sports and trying to win and compete. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. But this isn't about what I love today. It's about what I don't like. Because despite all these awesome sports and competitions, they got some of these that I'm going to keep it a buck. No disrespect to the people who spend all their time training, but I'm like, yo, this shouldn't be an Olympic sport. Or there needs to be some major changes made to it. So I did a little homework, I did a little research, and I tried to find, a big list of just all the various events happening in this year's Olympics. Really,
were you avoiding summer training? Is that what was happening here?
Nope.
For your job?
Nope. Did this on the weekend on my own time, baby.
Okay.
Private citizen Savon and corporate Savon, 2 separate beings that don't overlap.
All right.
But
he said wink.
But yeah, so today it's not going to be a top 5 in terms of one worst. This is just my.
Also, is that a giraffe on your shirt?
Damn right.
Can we just clear that up?
Yeah. Oh my god!
It's a huge giraffe.
It's a tatted giraffe.
Its neck is so long.
Yeah, it's a giraffe.
That's the hallmark of a giraffe, Brian.
That's
no, but I just like on the shirt.
On the shirt, I know it's a big ass
like
neck.
a double XL.
No, this is just a medium.
You're wearing a medium?
This is an old shirt,
dude. You're over 6 feet tall. You can't.
That's the size I wear. I wear a medium.
I don't fit this shirt anymore. So this is a side story that's not relevant. I'm hating on Olympic sports right now.
Do it.
And I'm about to talk about all the sports that, in no particular order, I'm like either change it or just get rid of it. For the record, I'm not an expert. If you have some deep, nuanced opinion about why this sport is valid, don't at me.
Keep it to yourself.
Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't care. So you can message me. Won't promise that I'll read it. But if you want to, go on your little soapbox, go for it. But if you want to disagree, start your own podcast.
Yeah,
boy. Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna open it up with anything involving horses.
Oh, cosign.
Anything. I don't give a damn.
The immediate cosign.
Immediate. Now, the closest.
The horse is the athlete.
The horse doing the heavy lifting. And I don't even think is horse racing an Olympic sport? Like the one part,
so.
the
No,
one,
not
the
horse.
one activity,
horse jumping.
The one that I might have more respect for in terms of a competition is the one they don't have. So you have horses trotting and
respect the horse racing more.
I mean,
they're still not doing anything.
The bar is still in hell. But like, I'll respect somebody who races a horse fast better than someone who can make a horse crip walk backwards. What kind of rich? What kind of
Dr. Dre,
on that, though.
If Snoop had a horse,
what kind of rich people? And it's like, okay, so how do you train? What's the barrier of entry? Certain countries probably just got nicer horses. This just feels like a rich people money laundering scheme.
It absolutely is.
Like
this is somebody like paying
Joe
the
Schmo,
Olympic committee to get it in.
Joe Schmo does not effing become the horse people. I'm not about to try and say equestrian, even though, the horse people.
Let's not glorify it.
Yeah, it's just like, it upsets me. We're not going to try and use the scientific term to make it seem deeper than it is. It's people playing horse games. The same way me playing fetch with my dog shouldn't be a damn Olympic sport. So
I would way watch that over the horse jumping stuff.
But look, if the dog training and
no.
if the dog show things, which I think that might take more skill the way they train them dogs, because I done had a dog. Dogs be acting a fool. Now, granted, that shouldn't be an Olympic sport, but I'll take that over the horse stuff. But really, anything involving an animal, get it out of here. This is the Olympics, not whatever y'all think it is. Animals should not have any role in the Olympics.
Unless you're fighting the animal or something like that. Unless the race is against the animal.
I would get down with that.
Like that.
But then at that point, it's just a modification of the track and field events where now you're just running to beat the best time. Who can compete?
That would be incredible.
Like, okay, you can't beat the cheetah, but who can get the closest time? But at that point, you're just doing the 100-meter dash.
Cheetah race.
You're just doing the 100-meter dash, but with higher thresholds of like a record to keep.
That's how you eliminate the competitors. You do like several heats, and the slowest person gets attacked by the chasing animal. And
that's how you get them to run.
Oh,
yeah,
there
and
we
that's
go.
how you get
Coliseum style.
You get to the winner. Based on
last
who survives the
standing.
longest.
There we go. Now we're getting interesting. But this horse shit, get it out of here. It's horse shit.
Okay, no horses.
Nah, they're gone.
I agree.
Get
Wait,
them
the next one better not be archery, bro. That's one of my favorites.
So no, I actually have you're gonna hate my answer
this
more.
guy throws axes though, so that might be his wheelhouse.
you're gonna hate my answer more.
Okay.
I put on here
What's
on
next?
the list
Number 2.
All combat sports. And,
what?
And what right? People are gonna say what? I know.
Like wrestling and boxing?
Let me explain. That includes taekwondo, judo, wrestling, boxing. All of those need to be abolished, and we need to treat this as if we need to treat this as if this was like Street Fighter or Tekken, where you have all of the fighting disciplines from all over the world come into one place, and then you just do like a one-on-one. So why are the judo people fighting other judo people? I don't want to see that shit. I want to see a judo master go at it with a capoeira master or a boxing master. I want this to look like...
You just want MMA. You want UFC right in the middle.
Basically, I want it to be like watching Street Fighter. Oh, here's Ryu from Japan, this is Ryu from Japan doing his, more traditional karate. And here's Balrog from America, who's just like a cocky boxer. And I want them to go at it round 1, fight, but at the Olympics.
I think I could jump on board with this. Like, I don't want to see the mixed martial arts. I want to see the top of the discipline face off. Like, I want to see Muhammad Ali versus Bruce Lee, actually.
Yeah, I just
versus
wanted
Kareem. We saw that already.
Yeah, I just wanted to be like Enter the Dragon, or just literally every fighting game ever, where it's just a world martial arts tournament where every discipline comes and may the best discipline win. If the best fighter is a sumo wrestler, then guess what? I want to see big sumo dude hand slapping and body slamming, and he get his Olympic medal over the taekwondo dude.
So what happens to fencing? Does this
become
Soul Calibur?
So fencing is on my list. Actually, this is a great transition. Wait, is there anything else to say about the combat sports thing?
I think it's fine. I think it's quite an athletic pursuit, and you got to best your competitors. Like that seems in the Olympic spirit,
I want the taekwondo dude to fight the boxing dude.
I think all the taekwondo dudes should fight each other first, and then the winner of that has to go on to the Champions League.
Look, I don't mind if you represent
guy.
So it's like an Olympics it's an Olympics within the Olympics. Like you have to qualify for the Olympics, but then you also have to qualify within the Olympics within your fighting discipline to represent.
Okay, wait. Do you get a gold medal for your own discipline?
I don't know. We have to talk to the Olympic committee to work out the nuances.
Maybe you get a gold coin.
Yeah,
that you have to put
Get a
into the
pin.
machine to
Yeah.
then play the next game.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
And then if you lose the next game, Cheetah eats you.
yeah. But I think the first step is breaking down the walls and just having all the fighting disciplines go at it. We can work out the details later, but if Street Fighter and Tekken can do it, I'm convinced the Olympic Committee can do it.
Yeah, that makes
Okay.
perfect sense.
They have way
Yes.
more resources.
Video games, the same as the Olympics.
Just
Got
give
it.
them a room to
All right.
fight.
Why don't you do your next one then? Since we already brought out fencing and you said it's on the list. Why fencing? Because fencing is kind of cool. It's like a really like, and then you gotta like be super quick. Like you gotta have fast twitch.
Let's
muscles
step
up the
that
wazoo.
shit up. Let's step that shit up. Get rid of the pads. Get rid of all that extra stuff. It needs to be, Brian, you called it, Soul Calibur.
Oh my god.
So you want samurai games?
Literally, no, not necessarily, because there's lots of sword weapons you can use.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not limiting what you can use,
Right.
but I just want all of the
Two-hand
world's best.
broadsword.
I want all of the world's best swordsmen and women to come together for a world martial arts tournament. I basically
What you're
just want
saying
the
is
Olympics to
that-
be Street Fighter and Tekken and Soul Calibur.
Olympics is coming like as a half measure. You're talking like it's too weak. They gotta like really step up and show the real deal.
Fencing is cool. I like fencing. I just think it can
They
be
celebrate
cool.
a lot.
Yeah. Guess what? It can be cooler. Straight up. It's nice.
Well, like
to go
it
for
feels
a-
like fencing probably was a sport that came out of like real sword fighting, right? And training. And they were like, well, we can't always just kill each other and do combat, so let's do this fencing thing as like an analog. And now you're saying, let's just strip it down, go back to the roots and make it brutal combat.
Well, I mean, back in the 50s,
Yeah, I like that.
I forgot where I read this, but I think back in like the 40s, I think certain like German officers who learned fencing growing up, there was certain times where they would fence without the face. It was like a high stakes version of fencing where you could absolutely get scarred on the face because they were
Really? But
Yeah,
the
they're
blades
basi-
now aren't sharp, I don't think.
Yeah, it's like a point. But point is, I mean, regardless, you can still hurt somebody with it. Like,
Poke an eye out.
yeah, you can still, and either way, you stabbing. You don't need a sharp blade to break skin and get somebody bleeding. Point is, fencing is already cool. Let's step it up a notch. Let's really make the stakes higher. It's
But I
easy
like
to
it.
go
You
for
have
something.
to fight on this little tiny plank.
That's
It's
fine.
not
No,
bigger than.
I was gonna say, can we at least add a staircase? Can we add a chandelier
We
somewhere?
can treat. Look, let's go. Let's treat it like Smash Brothers. There's different stages, and they have
I
to
like
either pick the stage, the two people, or they counter pick and say, I ban this one until you land on one. There's a lot of formats you can use to have some environmental stuff. I'm with it, but I think the
Yeah, they
basic
should
starting
fight
point.
at the skate park.
Yeah, I want to see somebody fighting up the stairs, down the stairs. I want something like Obi-Wan. I have the high ground. Uh-oh, is Jones gonna go for it? He goes, he's down. Obi-Wan wins the gold. Except instead of just you on the ground embarrassed, it's like nah, but you took a wound. Nah, you hurt. Oh,
I think
you got 4
I think
years to
my
heal
change-
up. You got 4 years to heal up and get ready for the next Olympics.
I really like fencing, not to watch it, but like I've seen like clips and I'm like, that's
You
a
like
good sport.
fencing, not to
Yeah.
watch it.
No. But like
I like to
can't-
stab a little.
I don't want to pretend that I'm a fan or that I know anything about fencing. I just like the way it looks. It looks cool. I feel like if you wanted to up the like watchability of it, you'd narrow their path that they're on, right? Because they have a platform that they can be on, but like narrow that a bit, right? Like to like a foot or two. So they really are just head to head. And then you make the out of bounds area more dangerous, like filled with a lake, filled with alligators or lava or something, and really like make it, that you got to like go at it.
we can
Because I
cross
still
that.
want to see the quickness and the
We can cross that
zoom.
bridge. You can still do that though. My changes don't get rid of that. All my changes are is just saying let's just up the stakes. Hey, get rid of all these pads and shit. If you're going for the hit, you need to like really go for it. Like I want
Our
people to,
lightsaber allowed.
yeah, I want people to have higher stakes. It's easy to go for a bold move knowing I'm not gonna really get hurt. Hey, you're gonna go for it knowing you could really get hurt. All right, yeah, that really raises the stakes. Now you're gonna really see who the big dog.
But then no one would do it.
Shit. I guess
Well, what about this?
the cream will rise to the top, in the words of Macho Man Randy Savage. Maybe those
Well,
who need
we
the pads
already
were never
know-
meant for this.
What we already know that's better than fencing.
That's why Joe Biden is the nominee.
is American Gladiators, right? Like, do you remember when they had like the big sticks and they
Yes.
would just try
The
to knock
Q-tips?
each other off the
Yeah, the
totem
Q-tips.
pole?
Yeah, that was great.
Yo, that was so good and entertaining. That's already better than fencing.
Big facts. So just take away the pads, maybe some blade variety. You can add in environmental hazards, have it like a Princess Bride fight or a Star Wars fight, whatever. But fencing has a lot of untapped potential that I think
Costumes
could
required.
really. I'm with it. You want people cosplay? You could dress
Yeah,
like
yeah.
your Elden Ring character. I don't give a damn.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Fair enough. Okay, so that's 3. So we have anything with horses, dressage, equestrian, whatever. No more combat sports. Just one combat
We're
sport.
breaking down the walls, baby.
You're
So
deconstructing
there's Street
it.
Fighter and there's Soul Calibur.
Yep.
Okay.
And
facts.
wait,
Covered.
wait. So those are unarmed combat, right? So you have fencing, which is armed. So you're saying that's a separate category, though. Like the fencers are not battling with the judos.
No, that's not fair.
Okay.
Wait, but shouldn't the archers and the shooters also be rolled into this as well?
I thought
do you
about
think,
it,
Sav?
but then the judging for their events is more about accuracy. They're not really combat sports; they're precision sports. That's kind of how I perceive it.
Okay.
Because you're not
Marksman.
fighting anybody. There's a
Okay.
very clear
Fair,
objective.
fair.
If you hit more targets than this
That's a
person,
smart man.
you're better.
Yeah.
I thought
He's really
about
thought
it.
about this,
I,
guys.
I really was thinking about it. I was like, ooh, do I
Yeah.
put archery in here? Like, nah, they're kind of chilling.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe you could make archery though. You got to hit, somebody. You got to hit your opponent.
Now,
Can we have paintball?
Hold on. Now we got an idea, like dodgeball, where you can't cross like a certain line.
You got
But
my
then the
brain
rest-
turning on this
but look,
one, Savage.
yeah, dodgeball, right? You can't cross a line, but then outside of that, you got your quiver, and it's just
Steal
like, hey
the
man,
bacon.
last
Oh,
one
that'd
standing
be
wins. You just
amazing.
got to go for it. So they shooting arrows, ducking, dodging. I'd watch that. But
Let's
that's
go,
for
J-Law.
We'll
Fund
do
that.
that. We'll do that in 4 years on the next Olympic. Confidently wrong.
Katniss Everdeen.
Next on here, this is pretty simple. Diving.
What's wrong
You
with
don't
diving?
like diving?
I am not impressed by someone succumbing to gravity. I can succumb
What
to
do you
gravity. I could fall. Anybody can fall. Your children can fall. I
Can
can
you fall with style, though?
Someone's grandparent. Anybody can effing fall. Like, I'm just not impressed. Yeah, in the words of Woody from Toy Story, that's just falling with style, and that's nice. But like, I'm just not about to hype people up for succumbing to a basic force of our world. That's just not impressive to me. Like, here's me, gravity. Oh man, somebody give me a gold. Like, I recognize the
It's
skill.
like gymnastics,
And
though.
then
They're
also-
doing flips and
So
stuff.
here's the other problem I have with diving outside of the gravity thing. Never in my life have I seen anything about jumping into a pool from a high distance and the goal is to not make a big splash. That's the most counterintuitive shit I ever heard in my life. I've never jumped into any body of water.
What is that country club
I've
shit?
never jumped into any body of water and thought, man, I hope I don't make a splash.
Well, it's
What?
extremes, right? You jump in and you want to make the biggest fucking splash possible, or you jump in and you try to make the littlest splash possible.
I think the little
that's
splash
fine.
is whack. Let's make it interesting. Let's go for biggest splash. I want MFs doing people's elbows, swanton bombs, flips.
They have this competition.
cannonballs.
It's just not in the Olympics.
Yeah, maybe that needs to be in the Olympics. I'd be more impressed. I don't give a damn about who can not make a splash. A effing pebble or a small child could not make a splash. I want some big Mark Henry looking dude jumping however many feet the high dive is and causing a tsunami. I want people for that event to get the close rope seats playing big money because they hope they get splashed by a 10 out of 10 dive. Like, rather
They
than
all
just,
should be wearing ponchos.
oh, yeah, I'm saying it needs to be like water. You need to be doing some SeaWorld shit. You hear me? Like, you need to be in that with your poncho. Like, he's driving. People, oh no. Yeah, like, yo, that'd be fine. Not this just, no splash.
Is there skill in that though? To
Yeah,
just see like a big dude cause a big splash.
Is there skill in
Like-
people riding horses?
Yes.
I mean, yes, there is. But is it skill that I care about for an Olympic medal? Not for me.
I'll say this: the divers are always yoked. Like they're just like buff. They look like gymnasts.
I'm
they're
not-
Because
all,
they gotta
like,
perform naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that's
if
why.
I had to be bucket
I
naked
mean-
too, I'd make sure I look good. Especially at the
I don't
Olympics.
think that's why they look good. I think they look good because it's a physically demanding, activity.
You're swimming.
If
You
yeah,
even got to know how to swim to be a high diver.
well, I mean, you would drown. But
Get
at the
some
bottom,
floating. You can just crawl to the wall. You don't need to be a good swimmer. You could be a mediocre swimmer and be a gold Olympic
you-
diver, and that don't
I'm
sit
not
right with me.
arguing
Doggy
that I
paddle.
need to watch diving. If diving disappeared, I would not cry a single tear. But it does feel like a sport to me.
It's a sport. I never said it's not
Yeah,
a sport.
it
It's a sport. It
feels
just
like
shouldn't
an
be at the
Olympic sport.
Olympics.
All right.
It's like it
I'm-
involves a pool and it takes away all the coolest shit that you do in a pool, which includes swimming and making a big splash when you jump in. Diving does like none of those things. You're not here to swim. You're not here to make a splash. What the
Are you
F
good
are
with
we-
water polo?
Yeah, water polo is one of the hardest things I've ever seen in my life. I watched
Okay.
one water polo game several years ago and said, "This is the toughest shit I've ever seen."
Yeah,
Those
these
people
guys
are
are about to
monsters.
die.
Swimming,
fucking
because if you
monsters,
f
yeah.
up, you don't get to catch your breath. You just drown.
All right. Synchronized swimming?
I was really back and forth about putting this on here, and
Okay.
I just actually it was very close until you see what I put on the last spot on this list.
See, like for me, like synchronized swimming and rhythmic gymnastics, I don't need to see those at the Olympics. I don't think they should be there.
I was
But I
very
don't know.
close to putting them on there, and I asked
Okay.
straight up Wes. I actually started doing research into how they score it because that is actually important to me. The subjectivity
Wow.
of it still is something that I'm like not the biggest fan of
Yeah.
because there's like
Yeah.
any sport where it's like it's subjective. It's kind of always a little
Right, like
eh.
ice skating.
Yeah,
figure
it's
skating.
always a little bit
Get out of here.
but there's enough athleticism and raw skill involved to where I just am like, it's all good. Is it a little subjective? Yeah, but like the athleticism is there in a way that you could not deny in any capacity.
I mean, that's true for like cheerleading and dancing, but those aren't Olympic sports. But all right,
But they
keep
could
going.
be.
They
Mhm.
could be.
And breakdancing is
Well,
one. I feel like
breakdancing
how they
is
judge
now,
breakdancing is going to be
as Brian knows.
I almost put breakdancing on here, Brian, but I was like, I need to see how they judge this event first. Because my issue is that how do you
That's what you
are
need
you
to
gonna are you gonna overvalue someone who
Watch
could
my
just do-
documentary.
Look, all I'm
Yeah.
saying, Brian, is that it's right now. I mean, Brian, you're the dancer, so tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's a difference between someone who can do a technically proficient move versus some shit that just is smooth.
Oh yeah,
Or got character.
Exactly. The
It's like-
swag is
yeah.
such a big part of
Yeah,
it.
like the
And-
breakdancing part to me, Wes, is almost like, or really just a subjective event. It gives me the energy of people who say that Eminem is a good rapper because he can rap really well, even though that is separate from his ability to make good music. And people who can make good music who aren't necessarily the best rappers. Like, I think the
Kanye.
best dancers aren't the people who can
Yeah,
do the
Kanye.
hardest moves. Like, that's the best way to put it. So I don't know. I went back and forth on those events a lot,
All right.
but the one that was there was no ambiguity to was the walk running event. I'm like, oh, so they actually
Wait, is that an Olympic sport? Walk
yes,
running?
yes. It's like
Is
running.
that speed walking?
Yes,
I think I have
no,
seen
it's
it
real.
before.
It's real. I was like, is this real? And I, did a little, did my
Yeah.
homework. I was like, oh,
Alright.
this shit is real.
Baseball's not an Olympic
Takes
sport,
a-
but walk running.
Well,
is.
how fast are these walk runners?
I don't know. I was like, I'm not about to learn how they differentiate between what running and walking is on an Olympic rules level because I'm sure otherwise people would just run. I'm like,
the rule is easy. It's you have to have one foot touching the ground at all times.
Nah, I'm not about to do that shit. Like,
That's easy.
That's silly.
It's just like a group of people who all look like they need to seriously use the bathroom.
I've done that
But
walk
it's
before.
very far away.
So here's my
Yes.
problem with the walk runners.
Okay.
It takes skill, it takes endurance, it takes all those physical traits.
Yeah.
I won't pretend. But why is it this
Yeah.
instead of just running? This feels like for the people
please,
who
just run.
like, and
Yeah.
running already covers our going from A to B style events. And we've done different versions of them. Do you want to do a short-term sprint? We got that. You want to do a team race sprint? We got that. You want to do a long-term cross-country thing? We got that. So we already have all of our human forms of locomotion covered in terms of competitive racing. Why the F are we doing something that's slower than the primary one we already do? No one asked for this. Are we going to have
to
Olympic
Wes's-
crawling next?
To Wes's
Olympic
earlier
crawl.
point, right, about like, well, there's extremes. Like you can go for the biggest splash or the smallest splash. Why not just change it to the slowest run? Like, let's see who could do
How
it the
slowly could you go?
absolute slowest, and the other end we have the absolute fastest. Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be more interesting?
I take that
I'm good
over
with
speed
that.
walking, which is just like this is just a middle ground that nobody asked for. Who
Bowling?
in their mind was like,
Bowling
man,
could be
them
an
dudes are
Olympic
running too fast. Can we have a race, but like they're just not running as they're not going as fast?
Bowling should be a sport. You know what I think
Yes.
is hard is there's competitions where the Olympics is not the highest like coveted championship in that
Of their
sport.
sport,
Yeah, so like
basketball.
World Cup. Well, no, basketball might qualify because like there isn't an international competition besides the World Cup, but
Okay,
I think the same teams that want to win the World Cup still want to win the Olympics. That seems on par, and I think people put a lot of emphasis on the Olympics. But like
Tennis.
soccer's World Cup is, I think, a good example for the men for sure, but even maybe for the women. That like winning an Olympics is great, and I'm sure they love it. But if they win a World Cup, they're like emboldened forever in terms of fan. What is that called? Like what pedestal you put it on or value. The World Cup is definitely bigger than winning the Olympics. And the Olympics for cycling is also probably not as coveted as
Tour de
winning like
France.
the Tour de France,
Mhm.
right? But they're different. It's a one-day race in the Olympics. And so it's like winning a world championship or something like that, except you get to hold the title for 4 years. So it is a big deal, but it's a very different thing than like winning the Tour de France. So yeah, sports like that where I'm just like, you already have like a really big competition. The Olympics is not the height of it. Like maybe you just don't need to be here. Like let somebody else shine who like the Olympics would be like the biggest thing.
Yeah, like the walk runners.
Yeah, exactly.
They need medals too.
Let them have their minute.
Like,
I don't know.
Doesn't it sort of feel like
soccer might be
like
the only
everybody
good
gets an
of this.
award sort of situation? Like, oh, you did your thing, little kid. Let's pat you on the head. Like, everybody's great. Everybody has a talent.
Not for all these sports, but for some of the sports. Some of the sports I named, I don't even think it's like that. It's just they could just be improved entertainment value wise. But there's, I agree, Brian. That I don't think that's a big scale thing, but there is some fat to be trimmed. But put it like this.
I know you're covering mostly. These are all summer Olympics.
Yeah,
I thought about winter. I really thought about
curling. What about curling?
Nah, man, curling is one of the dopest sports I've ever effing seen. I was at a friend's house. I swear to God. One time I was at a friend's house and he had a homie who was like who joined a curling club for fun on the side, and he was talking about it. And then we ended up just watching like a YouTube video of 15 minutes of just some of the best curling shots of all time, bruh.
It's stressful.
That shit is like I was watching. I was like, nah. They get my respect. That's tough.
Yeah,
that's tough. That's teamwork. That's precision. It's not the traditional sport, but I see the skill expression. It's not subjective in its scoring. It's very much a clear. You do this, you get points, you win.
Yep.
Like the fact that there's
shuffleboard is
the
next.
fact that there's a concrete scoring system, and I've seen personally the skill and whatnot it takes. I'm like, and it's a team sport. I'm like, nah, I can. Will I play curling? No. But will I watch it and appreciate it? Yeah. But I don't just roll my eyes at curling once I learn about it compared to some other sports where the more I learn, the more I don't like it. Like curling, I liked it the more I learned. I was like, oh, that's what they're doing? Oh, interesting. Other sports, I'm like, that's what they're doing? Ugh.
Yeah, speed walking definitely lacking in the skill
more
category.
I learned about it, the less. Like you have to find some balance between reasonable to score, skill expression, so you being able to show how good you are at it, and like athletic ability. I think you got to find some kind of balance between those for me to take it seriously. But some are lacking in like all of those. And I'm like, oof, or they only are good in one. I'm like, ooh, that's rough. Like spitting, his spitting with precision could be something that takes skill, but but does it
shot glass at the end of the bar?
But does it check the other boxes to be like, okay, sure, it's a skill, but is this like Olympic? This one to Olympic on this shit? You know, I just think a few sports made the cut that shouldn't have. But I think breakdancing, skateboarding, and rock climbing those are 3 new ones they added this year. I actually think those are great additions. Like, I actually think those are really good in terms of showing skill, different sports, modern, not just more people rock climb and breakdance and skateboard than people ride effing horses. That is just a vestige of a time past. So I'm cool with them modernizing with newer activities than just having shit rich folks did 150 years ago.
Now, if they could teach the horses to break, maybe I'd watch it.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, make it interesting.
I'm not sold on breakdancing as Olympic sport, but I'm waiting to hear or see Brian's film once it's put together. And then maybe I'll be sold on it as an Olympic sport.
Like your logic about the Olympic sport, Wes, I don't agree, but it is consistent with your point about the other ones you don't think should be sports, which is the ones that are like subjective.
It's like too subjective,
subjective artistic dance stuff. I can say I completely agree, because how do you do style points? I'm like, we're just judging the person who can do the most spins. I'm like, okay, I guess.
Well, I mean, battles have been part of hip hop since the very beginning, and those are judged somehow, right?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Some winners are anointed, and oftentimes very evident. So.
Yeah, but for those type of
sometimes
things,
it's about like how big your crowd reaction is, right? And at the Olympics,
like battle rap. Yeah, that's not
could be. But
I think, that's a part that I like. That. Like for that, that's one of those.
That's the best stuff.
Give the keys to the people. Let the people decide.
Yeah, but
they dance.
At the Olympics, you don't have that, right? You don't have a bunch of like spectators who are knowledgeable in the circle.
It's It's a conundrum,
Yeah.
and it's complicated, and maybe ripe for a documentary.
Maybe we need like some neutral cheers for each section for the subjective events. Then it's just like judge it off crowd reaction and decibels, and then use that to determine.
No way. I want home. You know, you go hard for your country. That would be awesome too.
Yeah, but you have to cheer, but not for your country. So each country over there to get the little section. There's a way we could figure this out. But right now, just having like 5 dudes with signs, and then there's one guy who's like the D Wade, always give you a 9.
I'm sure Brian's getting all the interviews and all the footage on like the different people and their skepticism around it. So we'll get to see it when he puts his film together. And you know, if anybody's looking to fund a film, Brian is still looking for producers. Yeah.
I don't want more producers. I just want your money. Come on.
Oh, okay.
I'll throw a $5 your way.
So then they get an EVP credit, you know, or an EP credit.
They'll get a thank you.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, they'll be part of the block list in the credits.
Okay. Wow.
Hit me up.
No wonder he's got no funding. He's not giving away EP credits. 6-figure funders.
You don't have a voice in this. Just give me the cash.
I said, I'll throw a $5 your way as long as you just put me in the credits somewhere.
Yeah. All right. A 5.
I'll throw a 5 for doing what I can.
That doesn't even buy him lunch on one day of shooting.
I said doing what I can.
The amount of money corresponds to the size of font used for your name.
You can put my shit in 5 font.
Point
5. Yeah. That shit's the width of a mechanical pencil lead.
Well, I gotta get a microscope. Oh, there's Savon.
Pause it.
Right. Well, let's do one quick question and then we're out of here. What's your sport you're most looking forward to this summer? Either you know about it or you're just like, I like watching that sport. I think I'm actually most excited for basketball this summer.
Yeah, you're excited for basketball, Wes, the basketball fan on the pod where we talk about many things, including basketball. The Lakers fan, you going?
Hey, want to see LeBron get another gold? Maybe.
I mean, the Lakers.
I want to see it
really
as a basketball
showed up
fan,
yesterday for Team USA.
I know,
they did. Yo, AD's been wrecking it in all these exhibitions. We'll see if he can maintain that. And Joel seems like he's finally hitting a little bit of a stride because he looked really.
You was hating on my boy Joel.
He was not looking good, but he looked better yesterday. So hopefully he's kind of rounding into shape here in some form. But yeah, I think that's the one I'm most excited for. But I don't really love the like swimming and track and those kind of bigger sports. I kind of like the smaller sports. Like I like watching ping pong and archery, kind of smaller, like just fun sports, just to see like what they're up to. So that's where I'm at. Sav, what's your sport you're looking forward to in the Olympics?
Oh, basketball.
All right. Nice.
I just
USA is going to win it. I know they're the favorites, but I wouldn't be surprised if another team won.
I said it before when we were talking, right? Like I think that Team USA, and for folks who don't watch a lot of basketball, right? Like we have the most talent by far.
Yeah, but the least cohesiveness,
but
right?
the least chemistry, and our biggest names are old, and a lot of our younger players are just not proven in the Olympic game. And as Brian also said, NBA players on the Olympic team are used to being that dude, the big dog on their team. Being on an Olympic squad was suddenly gone from being the star and the son of your team to like, hey, bro, we need you to come off the bench and just kind of sit in the corner and just play your role. Like that's hard for them dudes to do. Also, the international basketball is just so effing good these days. Like the teams internationally are so stacked, plus their chemistry, that I'm just frankly, like I'm here to watch Team USA, but I'm really here to just watch a lot of these good international teams because I love the state of international hoops right now. We're the best USA, but we got to work for it, and I really like that dynamic of the game.
I mean, they just played a close game against South Sudan, which was really fun to watch. So you're right.
But shout out to Luol Deng because he's been putting in work into developing a lot of like just basketball in Africa and helping infrastructure. Like, man, it takes work. This is the result of years of work, and who knows what we'll be in another 10, 15 years, you know?
I think Masai Ujiri also does a lot, and not with South Sudan, but with African basketball. Anyways, Brian, sport you're looking forward to?
I mean, of course, I'm looking forward to breaking. I'm like on pins and needles for what's going to happen with that.
Yeah,
give us a name,
because it has ramifications for the movie that I'm making.
Wait. But give us a name.
I have heard from many people like, "Oh, this is a great story, but let's see if she wins gold."
Okay, so who's the person you've been following?
So I've been following the U.S. women. There are 2 U.S. women who qualified. I'm following the one who qualified first, Sunny Choi.
Sunny Choi, okay.
So she's on the B-girl side. She lives in Queens, New York. Nice. She's repping the birthplace of hip hop. So quite a bit of pressure on her.
All right, who are the big names in the
released the
sport?
brackets.
Yeah.
For B girls, and I'm like, oh man, she's got a tough bracket, so she better bring it. She better bring it.
Who's like her one of her biggest rivals we should look out for? Like, oh, that person has a good shot too.
Like everybody in her bracket.
Okay.
Actually,
Give us a name.
maybe not everybody, but there's a B girl from China called 671, and then there's another B girl from the Netherlands called India, and they're both really very good.
From India.
From the
Netherlands called
I don't
India.
know. I don't know how she got dubbed that name. Like, people give you a name and you just roll with it. So,
so that's what we got to watch out for when we watch.
So on the B girl side for sure, and then on the B boy side, the Victor, who is like the top US man, top US B boy, he's incredible, and I've seen him quite a bit. And then also the dude from Canada is also incredible.
Really?
This dude named Phil Wizard. I think both of them have like very, very, very good shots of winning gold. But then, like their whole top to bottom, all the B-boys are just ridiculous. You are about to see some superhuman shit go off with the B-boys.
Okay.
I am telling you, you'll be like, oh, I get why it's an Olympic sport. Like it's absolutely subjective, but however, this shit is incredible.
Yeah.
And so I'm definitely looking forward to that. But the things that I am normally hyped for at the Olympics, of course, is basketball, of course.
Yeah.
But I really do enjoy the swimming, and I do enjoy the 100-meter dash, and and see people kill it, just be like the world's fastest man. And I'm also into the decathlon as well.
Oh, you follow decathlon a little bit.
That's like the world's greatest athlete.
Yeah.
And I like those monikers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
All right. For breaking, are they going to do multiple gold medals or like different competitions, or is it all one category?
It's just 1 day for the B girls, 1 day for the B boys. It's a knockout style tournament.
Okay. But it's like mixed genre. Like you could do popping, you could do breaking, you could do whatever you want.
It's just purely breaking. So there's no popping, there's no locking, there's
That's
none
what
of
I was
that.
asking.
No pop, lock, and dropping?
There's no there's none of that. So it's pure breaking.
All acrobatics breaking.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Wait,
well, that's
quick
your
thing, Wes,
Olympics preview.
I forgot. They added rock climbing to the Olympics, like the wall climbing, bouldering. I'm gonna watch that. That's gonna be sick.
You were saying that.
That's gonna be the
Nickelodeon Guts style.
Nothing quite like an activity. Yeah, except it's it's bouldering, so there's no ropes or nothing like that either. You just going for it. Well,
they have this. They had speed climbing, I think, last time, which is where, like what Brian's saying, you got to just like crawl a vertical wall straight to the top and hit the button as fast as you can. Yeah. And then you said, was bouldering not in the last Olympics?
I don't know if they added it recently. I gotta check.
Okay,
but
anyways, but
rock climbing bouldering is in it, and it's gonna be sick.
Yeah,
that's one of those. Cool. That's one of those sports that you don't have to really understand to know like this shit is hard and that. That's really impressive.
You get it, appreciate it immediately.
Yeah, those are the best Olympic sports. I can put it on and be like,
this ain't no dressage.
Really hard.
Yeah, not horse dancing. All right, friends.
Though if a horse could climb a rock or a wall,
you'd watch that.
Let's do the Animal Olympics.
Yeah, goats could do it. Goats are fucking.
Goats
incredible.
are the goats of that.
Yeah. Like they just walk sideways up a face.
He's out. Savon out.
We're going to bleep that out. That was horrible. All right, friends, we're out of here. Take it easy. Next show, I think we're going to talk about Wolverine and Deadpool, or Deadpool and Wolverine. So make sure that you go get your tickets. There are still definitely some tickets available. I know they sent pre-sale on a long time ago, but it's hard to get tickets for IMAX and that kind of like big screen setup. But if you're just looking for regular screens, tickets are still available for most areas, I'm sure. At least in Austin, that is true. So enjoy it. Go watch it. We'll talk about it next time.
Are we sponsored by moviefone.com or something?
Does that still exist?
I don't know.
I went on my Fandango.
Are still available.
Yeah, I went on Fandango. So if you need a shout out,
Fandango, give us money.
Yeah. I refused to buy my tickets to Inside Out on Fandango though, because they were charging me like $3 or $4 like convenience fees. So I just went to the theater and got it. All right, friends, we're out of here. Take it easy. Bye.